Okay, so this is my Compaq Armada E500. It's a Pentium 3 800MHz, 20GB hard disk with an ATI Rage Mobility 8MB card, running 128MB of RAM. Now I bought this because I wanted to play some of my old games. These are all games that I had back in the day. I had a computer since Windows 95, but obviously as Windows has gone on, after 98 there was no native DOS support on operating systems, and when it got to Windows 7 they started to become incompatible with 16-bit games. So I thought I'd try and get a computer that would run the games natively without running an emulator, and this is the one I decided on. So the build quality of this was incredible. Now on the front you can see there's a floppy disk drive. We've got a CD rewriter. This is just volume controls here, and these are little ports for the speakers, because this comes with JBL speakers, and it sounds better than any of my other laptops. I mean, obviously it's quite chunky, so there's room to put speakers in there. Now as we look at the side, we've got two PCM PCIe slots, we've got a mono microphone jack, a headphone jack, a Kensington lock, and we've got an Ethernet and a modem port as well. And this is infrared, which is for transferring data between devices, which I won't be doing. And then you've got an ordinary AV output for plugging through a TV, but I can also use that to capture games footage as well. Moving to the back, we've got a single USB socket, we've got a serial port, we've got a VGA output for a monitor. This is a docking port for various devices, a parallel port, and then a mouse stroke keyboard PS2 connection on the side there, or on the end there. You can get a splitter, it says, if you want to plug both in, but I generally would be using a mouse, although the touchpad is actually alright on this laptop. Not a lot to say about this side, but this is the battery port. This laptop takes 3 batteries in total. You can remove the DVD or CD drive, the floppy drive, and put batteries in there. There's special batteries that fit in, and I'll show you how they remove. Okay, so here's the underside of the laptop, and we have a little button here that allows us to release the CD drive. So a battery would go in there, and this is just an ordinary CD rewriter drive. But then we also have a release for the floppy drive. So again, a battery could go in there, and here is the main. That's the main battery that's in the device. So that's how you get 3 batteries in the device. Obviously you have to give up a floppy and a DVD drive. So what's so amazing about this is if you need to swap out your DVD, floppy or battery, it's just so easy. And they literally just clip in. So if I get a DVD drive, then I can clip that back in. I could add 2 batteries if I wanted to. I'm mainly going to use this on mains, but the battery still does work fine. But also, there's normally a screw in here. Someone's obviously taken that out to save a bit of weight because it's a bit of a chunky device. But that's a release for the keyboard, and I'll show you why that is in a minute. So this flips up, and there's your hard disk. So you can take out and put in a new hard disk very, very quickly as well. One of these other slots you can also get a hard disk into. There's lots of different peripherals that will go into these hot swappable slots, and it's just great. Under here is access to the modem and Ethernet card, and also the processor is under there, but I think you have to take it apart to properly get the processor out. So back to the top of the device, got a little release here, so pop that up. Now mine, I've seen others have got the back doesn't hold up. This one holds up brilliantly. There's no problem with it holding itself up. So we've got left and right mouse buttons. We've got 2 power buttons, strangely. I haven't really worked out what they are, although I have got the full manual, which is about 260 pages. Not like instructions you used to get with, or that you now get with laptops. So there's little tabs here, and you push them all down, and then that flips up. Now let's see if I can spin this around. And the keyboard, You see that? Yeah. The keyboard flips up, and here's the RAM here. So I must have two. I've got 128 meg, so I must have two 64s in there. But just the way it all comes apart is so different to modern computers. So push that down and just clip these 4 clips back in. It's a really nice keyboard on these as well. It's got quite a lot of travel, and you know, really is nice to use. But that's how it looks. Let's close the curtains and boot it up, because otherwise you won't be able to see the display. Okay, so I've dimmed the lights. Let's start it up. Now, unfortunately, I made a bit of an error with this computer. So I got it with Windows XP on it, and XP was running fine, and USB was working all right, and I tried a few of the games, and they seemed to be loading up, although not everything I was trying. But really, I got this with the intention of using 98 because of its DOS support, and because it's closer to the games of the era that I was buying a lot of computer games, and the ones that can't be played on modern computers. But you'll see that this error comes up. Now, this is my fault. When I was installing 98, well, what basically happened, I tried to dual boot using partition magic, but I didn't read any instructions. I tried to rely on my knowledge from years ago, and obviously I'm a bit rusty because I ended up deleting XP and overwriting it with 98. Now, the partition was hidden that had XP on, so I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I'd remembered, because I'd tried HyperOS and various different things in the past and managed to multi-boot systems and things like that, and it was fine. But on this one, it didn't work. And so now I've got 98, but when I was installing 98, so it completely wiped the XP partition and put it back to a straight 20 gig drive. When I was restarting it after several restarts, I thought it was safe to take the CD drive out, or the disc rather, as the whole drive comes out on this computer. When I took the disc out, it then asked me to put the disc back in, and when I put it back in, it wouldn't find it, and I kept browsing to try and find the right folder and everything, and it wouldn't find it. So there's a few DLLs missing, which I remember having problems with 95 after installing various things. But also from a driver's point of view, now I managed to find all the drivers online, not on the HP site, although I'd seen in a previous video that they're all available on the HP site. They're not for Windows 98. So it lets you get there, but when you get there it says no resources available. But there was another site, and I'll put that in the description, which has all the drivers. So if I go into Control Panel, let's have a look, because I don't know if this will, with XP, this Cytec P2000 game controller, which I had from back in the day, which I paid £30 from PC World, I think, so a long time ago, that works straight away with XP. Everything was recognised, and I haven't tried plugging it into this, but I know USB support was a bit more dodgy in Windows 98, and this is Windows 98 SE. So what am I doing now? I'm trying to talk and do things at the same time. It's not working. So System, Device Manager. So I've got several question marks here. I did manage to get the display adapter and the sound card working fine. But basically with the drivers, I downloaded them all on my Mac, but then they look like this. So they've just got numbers. So then you don't know which driver is which and where to put it and where to look for it. So I'm gonna have to do it again, where I download it when I need it, or rename it to what it does. But yeah, basically, so that's been a bit problematic. So I'm going to reinstall Windows 98 after this, and then let it get all the DLLs it needs. So leave the disk in until it's fully finished. Then I'll do the drivers separately. I don't know if I'll bother to put XP back on, because I'm not going to use this computer for the internet or anything else other than old games, because I've got other computers which are better at those tasks, but at old games this will be a better device. So let's try plugging in the Cytec, which has got the old style joypad connection, but also USB. So let's plug the USB in the single USB socket on the back. Plug it in the right way. Okay, so it's found it. This would have searched, so next. Now I have got a disc for this, so I think I'll use the disc. Yeah, so sometimes being a hoarder does pay off. My loft has got many little gems in there, not worth very much, but worth a lot to me. Now, pop that disc in and see what happens. Search for the best driver for your device. So I guess if I just give it access to the CD-ROM, let it spin up. It starts actually really quick, this computer. It starts quicker than my Acer Celeron, you know, one of the, bit like an HP Stream, like one of the 2 gig computers, but mine's got 8 gig in it. But yeah, Windows 10 does start up much slower than this, but then this is a fresh operating system, there's nothing on it, but it is using an old physical drive. So let's hit next and pray. Windows driver, Windows is now ready to install. Well, it says location is on the C drive. Okay, let's give it a try and see what it does. Finished installing the driver. I tell you, certain things have definitely got easier. I mean, I like Windows 10. My bug with Windows 10 is just the updates. I mean, it's constantly updating. Oh, we've got. Oh, okay. So there's a proper program. You decide to press yes to proceed. I accept. DirectX 7. Is that not? I think I'm on DirectX 4 at the moment. Let's have a look. Hopefully I can get the joypad working. I'm only going to do 1 game today because I haven't got loads of time. 2 games actually. An old DOS one and Motocross Madness, which was one of my main things that I really wanted to get working. Now the recommended specs. The specs on this is Pentium 133, 4 megabyte 3D card, or multimedia PC. Yeah, so really low specs. So that'll be nice and smooth. So DirectX needs to restart your machine. Yeah, a lot of restarts I've noticed with Windows 98, which you don't get as much of with Windows 10 for just installing things and setting things up. So certainly some things have moved on. I mean, the modular element of this computer is just great. I love the way that you can just take bits apart. You can get access to things. It's amazing. And to think that I paid £33 off eBay for this, including postage. And the battery works fine. I accidentally left it on battery power while I was putting loads of discs. When it was on XP, I was putting loads of games and things on it, not installing it, but just sort of dragging it over. I did that for a good half an hour or so, and it still had loads of battery life left. And obviously, if it's using the optical drive and it's right into the hard drive, that's all extra bits. Right, new devices. Let it search. I guess we'll go CD. It's ready to install more. So quick. Make sure if anything's happened. Oh, what's going on? So file being copied. Do you want to keep this file? The file being copied is older than the file currently on your computer. Yes, I'll keep the file then. Let's go with the newer versions. So the sound is so good on this with these JBL speakers. You actually get, well, let's see if we can. I put some music on here. A-track. Volume controls on the front. And if I put some paper in front of the Oh, okay. You can feel air coming out, but it's not enough to move. I thought it would be enough to move the paper, but yeah, out of these little ports at the front. Let's stop that so I don't hit any copyright violations. So, Cytec gaming extensions. Well, let's leave that because I think that's probably just because I've left the disc in and it's automatically restarted. So, let's start out. And what should we do? Should we try... Oh, let's see if the joystick, what the interface comes up for on this. Control panel. This is the first of many videos I plan to do on this. I thought I'd do some emulator videos and just general other games running on it. So, game controllers. Right, so... Yeah, that works. Because it's got like a thrust control here. So if it's a flight sim, you could hold your, or a driving game, you could hold your acceleration there if that was set as that. It's got this weird tilt, so forward and back, left and right. And so there's the joystick you can see there. That's all configured. So button 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 7, 5, 8, and 6. 9, 10, 11. So there's a shift. Oh yeah, 10. So all these would be quite configurable, really. So yeah, that looks like it's working. So let's try and install a game. There's a big thing on these, looking through YouTube. I ended up getting this laptop because I got my Amiga out of the loft, if you've seen any of my other videos. I've got an Amiga 600. And I've been trying to get it working, and if you watch my videos you see I've had loads of stumbling blocks and things on it. One of the stumbling blocks was I don't have a floppy drive, and one of the ways to get drivers onto it was to use a PC with a floppy drive. Anyway, I managed to get over that, but it still didn't work because I had the too older system on my Amiga. So in the end I just started reading about old PCs and watching videos and saw that there's a real sort of movement towards this era of gaming, so sort of early DOS games, but also I guess my era when I really started getting into PC gaming, which was from Windows 95 onwards, and I just wanted to revisit that really. So let's hit install and accept, continue. Let's go for full installation. I'll speed this up in the video. So I've got other games. I've got original Grand Theft Auto, which is great, and I was playing that on XP yesterday. Privateer The Darkening is a superb game. I used to love that, and this needs a clean, I realise, but it's been in my garage and in my loft. But the quick-shot joystick was what I used to use for Privateer. But again, it's got the joypad connector, which I don't have. But I think there's adapters for laptops, so it's got that type of connection. So yeah, looking forward to that. Command & Conquer Red Alert as well, which was, that was the first time I got repetitive strain injury because I played that so much and my wrist was in agony. I ended up buying one of the trackball mice and tried that for a while. Luckily it's gone away now, so I don't suffer from that anymore. But yeah, that shows how much I played the original Command & Conquer and Command & Conquer Red Alert. So I think we're there, are we? Something just pinged. What's pinging? Why does the joypad keep coming up? Why is that? The joypad keeps coming up. Come on. Do you want to add shortcut? Yeah. Do you want to register? Right, I'm not going to use this computer online just because of security. It's just not worth it, and I don't need to really. I can't imagine any of the multiplayer games are working. I suppose there might be some people keeping some going. So start. Be interesting to see if this works better than it worked on XP. As I say, I don't think I will dual boot. I would imagine I'll just keep it as 98. that's what the sticker on the front is saying, recommended for 98. And she's got a Pentium 2 sticker on the front. So I guess it originally was a Pentium 2. And someone's upgraded it to the 800 megahertz that's in there now. Right, so let's go for options and see what it defaults to. I think it defaulted to, yeah, 640 by 480. Quite low graphic quality. Let's go up a little bit. Whoop. Let's go with that, see what happens. Go back. Again, another game I played so much. What was the... I think the Supercross is probably a bit more interesting because there's a lot more goes on. Keep it with 2 opponents just in case it's a bit too much strain. Off we got, 98 season. Mass Air. User created tracks. Oh yeah, go with that. Well done, they started a bit quick. And I think it's going to crash. Yeah, I reckon that's gone. I've got no buttons here. And when they crash, Windows 98 tends to properly crash. I mean, if I do Control-Alt-Delete, it's trying to do something. Okay, so let's try Control-Alt-Delete and hold it for a bit longer. Oh, now is it just going to reboot or is it going to throw me back to Windows? Nothing. Right, so let's force quit it. I'm going to be reinstalling 98, so it doesn't really matter for force quitting. This may be because certain elements were missing because I took the disk out too early on the install. This will be the original game, so there's no patches. So if there is a patch for this game, which came out, I think it came out in 95, something like that, then obviously that might make it more stable. So what I think I'll do is I'll try it one more time with really low settings. Let's turn most things off and the graphical quality down. And maybe not try a user-generated track because maybe a user-generated track is less optimized. I don't know, clutching at straws here. So you can see it starts up pretty quick, really. See my briefcase there? I remember that now, yeah. So, double click. So options, graphics, let's lower it a bit, let's turn off some things. Let's try that. But yeah, let's try just one of the straightforward tracks, the first track we come to. Oh, it doesn't want to go anywhere that way. Oh, it's because I'm using the wrong bit. That'll do. San Diego. Oh, still doesn't like it. Now this worked on XP. Yeah, I mean it could be a driver's thing. I think what I'm going to do is let's call it a day on that one and let's go for something else. Now I used to create a new recorded CD of I don't know, every month or every couple of months. So as I got new programs, shareware, files, photos, things like that, I used to put it on a disc, and I used to call this disc Super Disc. Now I'm going to have to stop it now because I can't show anybody this because it's obviously top secret, but I'll come back when I've installed the game that I want to install. So I'm trying Super Disc 2 now because it wasn't on Super Disc 10. Okay, so it turns out it was on the original Super Disc. This is my first ever generation of the Super Disc concept, and it was on that one after I tried a few. Now just looking at it, someone's remade Stunt Car, which does look a lot better. But this is dated 2015, so I might try that on my modern PC or my son's gaming PC, although it doesn't look like it uses loads of specs. Right, so Stunt Car, and let's try compatibility on this. Actually, I probably shouldn't need compatibility. No, there isn't compatibility on this because it's 98. I was using XP before. Oh yes, that looks good. It's quite forgiving when you record without a capture card because it softens the image, but it's quite pixelated. Do you have a joystick? I'm going to say no. Single player. It's me again. Look at those motley crew. Look at Bully Boy. Right, so practice spelt wrong with an S, which is nice to see. Tracks in Division 4. Little ramp. So I think it's space to accelerate. Listen to that DOS sound. Now I think you've got to try and conserve fuel. So if am I still I'm still accelerating. And surprisingly enough, this is still fun to play. I played this yesterday and I beat one of the other competitors. Now I seem to remember, I used to play this on the Amiga. I'm sure that noise is damage. And on the Amiga, you used to get like a line on the screen, like you'd cracked your windscreen, because obviously if you're going to do a 100-foot jump, that's what happens. Now this is practice. I need to go into a race really, because I'm obviously incredibly good at this. Right, cancel, practice, cancel, start the racing season. So it's me against Jumping Jack. Obviously I look pretty good in my helmet there. Good representation. Or you can do that in the air then. Drop start. What's going on? Whoa, whoa. Oh, I see. Oh, there he is. Now when I played this last night, I accelerated so much that I ended up... Whoa, oh, have I knocked him off? That I ended up with no fuel and ended up cruising around, but I still ended up winning. Oh yeah. So I've got to try this on the Amiga. When I get my Amiga working, which I'm waiting for a serial cable, and I've got instructions on how to copy content over to the Amiga with a serial cable, because all my other attempts failed. Ooh. Don't know what the sparks are. And there's a game, Jet Car Stunts or something like that, on Xbox, which is really good, which is this same sort of concept, but with a bit more flight involved. And also it's available on iOS as well, and I'm sure Android as well. So what am I on? Lap 2. How can I tell? Do you reckon that's distance on away from my opponent is the 307, 308 maybe? And is there a damage thing somewhere? There's some representation as to how much damage the car's got, or does... Oh, there's a crack along the top of the screen. Oh, maybe that's what happened on the Amiga. I thought it came on the screen. So that's how much damage up here is how much damage my car's taken from those big jumps. Let's see if we can damage it a bit more. Oh, yeah, a bit more damage. See, even cars were built more solidly back in the day. Right, this is probably boring for you to watch, but I'm enjoying this. And obviously you want to see if I win. Whoop. Is this it? Finish line? Race 1. Now I don't know. Well, let's brake and see if matey comes past me. 682. No, that's not changing, is it? Press fire. Oh, look at that. So that's an original DOS game. What does it say? Winner 2 points, best lap 1 point, 3 of 6. Okay, well I'm not going to do another one now because that's probably a bit too much. Oh, it looks like looks like I forfeited that. Somebody else has won in this time because there's me with my head in my hands. I guess that's me. So I can't remember how to quit out. So I'll just hit the Windows key and right click. Now, so let's go for GTA. Now, I tried this on the XP when XP was on this computer, and it worked fine, absolutely fine. So let's see if I install it on this one. Got all the original box and maps in here. Software registration. Well, that's urgent. Now I'm about 20 years late on that, so I guess the urgency's over now. And here we have the system requirements. Is that going to focus? There you go. I'll let you read that because I can't see it because the camera's in the way. But still in pretty good condition. I've had this in my garage just on a shelf for ages. Just you know, just like the look of the artwork and everything. Right. So install. So I'm not going to do a lot of this game, but I feel that I let you down on Motocross Madness because it just didn't work. Obviously Stunt Car Racer was a highlight. And I will try that on my Amiga videos that I'll do. As I say, this is part one of, I want to do many more of these and just think of what I can use on it, emulators and various other things. But I'm not going to be using it for web browsing and doing it. Other people have done those tests, and I just, you know, if you've got modern devices, then you wouldn't really want to use a device such as this for browsing the web. They can't do YouTube streaming very well at all, even with alternate browsers. Plays video, plays MPEG video all right. MP3s are fine. Obviously older versions of Office are fine, but you know, you can buy a cheap computer that will do those bits much better and have the security of a modern update. But this is all about the old games, really. Right, so that installs pretty quick, isn't it? Restart. I think you have to leave the disc in because I think some of the audio comes from the disc in this game. It is. I'm so impressed with this. It is such a lovely laptop. I can't believe that I've got it for £33, and it works absolutely fine. And it'll work even better when I properly install Windows and the drivers, so I don't get these error messages. Right, so look at that. We've got Grand Theft Auto Windows 95. Grand Theft Auto, I'll go with that one. Ooh. So this is, I'm sure it didn't come up like this on the XP computer. It came up much worse. Oh, I'm tempted to do joystick. Oh, I am still plugged in. Right, so calibrate joysticks. Let's see if that. So, move the joystick to its limits. bit disconcerting that it doesn't go back to the middle. Let's try that. Well, oh, this one's the, oh no, that doesn't work. Right, so press any button. What do you reckon? Is that going to work? Ooh, high colour, 3DFX. Let's try high colour first, because maybe you have to have a 3DFX card. What was that? Oh, I missed that. Something about graphics card detected. Okay, so pressing a joystick button doesn't do anything. Got no sound. Wonder if this is because this is running the... Oh no. Oh, but that's probably playing from the CD. Oh yeah, so it's much better. So before... Okay, so joystick doesn't work. Before, it was in a really low resolution. See, it does that when you get into a car, and I think it's something to do with the music. Is it not? Oh yeah, it's spacebar. Yeah, so I've not got any audio. What do you have to do at first? So right, so let's try going towards where the arrow says. Oh, it's a box. They usually contained a gun. So I've got a gun now with 99 bullets. Couldn't work out how to fire it last night. When this came out on a demo, I played... Oh, what's down here? I played this for hours and hours and hours. I think it was the full game, but it's really hard to concentrate when I'm trying to drive. These gamers on YouTube do a good job. Yeah, when it came out, I think it was the full game, but it was like time limited to like 10... Oh, have I got to get this guy, have I? Yeah. Oh, come on, I'm in a car. 100. Oh no, I've got to get to the phone. I didn't have to kill him at all. Oh, that was harsh. Right, so get to a phone. Crazy Jimmy's dumped a car in North East Park. Find it before the cops do, or die. I don't want to die. Yeah, so when he gets in the car, there's a bit of a pause. It's better than it was before. Right, so... Is this faster than it was originally? I do remember I used to prefer driving the slower cars because you could really fly around or, you know, just sort of keep your foot down. Whereas I have to get a joystick working on this. Oh, there we go. Right, so what have I got to do to steal the car? Oh. So bring the car to Dully's in West Park. Move it. That's quicker than I could be. Whoop. Go through here, shall we? Well, that's not great on keys. Whoa. Whoop. Where have I got going? It's like a garage. Oh, the garage is opening. Jimmy needs a driver. Talk to him on the phone. Well, there you go. So you can see GTA's working. I don't know how to shoot. But I have got a gun. And I worked out Z and X. Oh, time left. Oh, yeah. So that's the gun selected. But I still don't know how to shoot. Oh, didn't like me pressing Alt. Okay, right, well, let's end it there. But please like and subscribe, and I'll do more of these videos. I picked this because a lot of forums and videos that I'd seen, it came up as a good thing for retro gaming, and so far I've been really impressed. It's great, and for £33 I can highly recommend it. And when you look at games, I went around some of the charity shops the other days, the other day, and a lot of the PC games are available for about £1. Now, I didn't see any big box games like these, which seem to be the ones that people are collecting, because obviously you can put them on a bookshelf and they look really nice. But if you just want a few games to try, and there's loads of shareware out there for DOS games, yeah, it's I'm looking forward to trying more of it. I wanted to say, all of that was done on the battery, which came with it, and the battery has still got 62%. So I've been installing and doing things, and obviously you've been watching it, and you've probably been able to check the time when I started and so on. But it's interesting to see this, where there's the extra battery slots. So if you were to load it up with batteries, and I would imagine, you know, people from a work point of view, if they didn't need CDs and floppies, that would have been quite handy to have immense battery life. But the weight of it must have been huge. And thanks very much for watching.